Welcome and enjoy this story. This story is called The Tides of Betrayal. Mark had always believed in the sanctity of marriage. Growing up in a household where love and loyalty reigned, he'd envisioned a life filled with laughter, shared dreams, and unwavering trust. At 33, he had that life, or so he thought. His wife, Samantha, was his partner in every sense of the word. They had built a home together, a cozy apartment on the outskirts of the city that felt like a sanctuary from the outside world. Yet, as he sat at the kitchen table one rainy Tuesday evening, the flickering candle casting shadows across their framed photographs, a knot tightened in his stomach. Samantha had been acting differently lately, more secretive, less engaged. It started subtly, her late nights at work, the sudden interest in new hobbies that didn't include him, and her phone, always just a bit too close to her when she received a message. That evening, while she was in the shower, curiosity got the better of him. Mark grabbed her phone from the counter, a device that had always felt like a shared lifeline between them. But the moment he unlocked it, a wave of unease washed over him. There, nestled among her notifications, was a text from someone named David. "Can't wait to see you again tonight. Just us like old times." Mark's heart raced, the implications crashing over him like a tidal wave. Who was David? His mind raced back to the office parties, the late-night meetings he'd always shrugged off as work obligations. Had he been so blind? When Samantha emerged from the shower, Mark confronted her, the phone trembling in his grip. Her reaction was immediate: shock, anger, and finally, a frantic denial. But as he pressed her, demanding the truth, the facade began to crumble. The truth sliced through him like glass. She confessed to the affair, her eyes filled with tears of guilt but also a strange defiance. In that moment, the man who had believed in love felt a hollow ache in his chest, replaced by a burning desire for revenge. He would not let this betrayal go unpunished. The days following the revelation were a blur of pain and confusion for Mark. He moved through life like a ghost, each moment marked by the hollow ache of betrayal. Work felt meaningless, and even the vibrant colors of autumn outside his window appeared muted. Mark had always been a creature of routine. Morning coffee brewed to perfection, evenings spent watching their favorite shows, and lazy weekends filled with laughter. But now, each habitual action felt like a cruel reminder of what he had lost. Samantha, on the other hand, seemed to navigate this new reality with a mix of guilt and irritation. She would often catch Mark's eye, her expression flickering between remorse and anger, as if she resented him for holding her accountable. "It was just a mistake, Mark," she'd say during their strained conversations, her voice a mix of pleading and frustration. "You know I love you." Love? The word felt like a bitter joke. Mark felt adrift, a man unmoored from everything he once held dear. He found himself watching her, studying her every move, trying to find traces of the woman he had fallen in love with. Instead, he saw the woman who had betrayed him, her laughter ringing hollow. One evening, while scrolling through his phone, he came across an old picture of them from their honeymoon. Sun-kissed faces, smiles wide and genuine. Tears stung his eyes as he realized how quickly things had shattered. It took weeks for Mark to gather his thoughts and, more importantly, his resolve. He became a detective in his own life, tracking Samantha's every movement with the determination of a man scorned. He noticed her lingering looks at her phone, the hurried texts, and the nights she claimed she was working late. Then came the fateful day he discovered a hidden truth, a message that confirmed his worst fears. Mark had borrowed her laptop to check an email when he stumbled upon a thread between Samantha and David. They discussed their feelings for each other, their longing for secret rendezvous. Each word felt like a dagger to his heart, twisting deeper with every line he read. The pain transformed into a roaring anger, fueling a desire for revenge. He needed to confront them, to expose the betrayal for what it was, but he also craved a deeper understanding of why. Why had she chosen him? What had she found in David that she could no longer see in Mark? One night, after a particularly fraught dinner where Samantha had been uncharacteristically quiet, Mark retreated to their bedroom. The darkness felt comforting as he paced back and forth, plotting his next move. He envisioned a confrontation, but not just any confrontation. A public one that would leave no doubt in anyone's mind about her betrayal. He started gathering evidence, saving texts and pictures, even secretly recording conversations. He discovered David was married, too, a fact that both angered and thrilled Mark. The idea of pulling the mask off David's facade added a layer of satisfaction to his plan. As the days passed, Mark's pain morphed into a cold, calculated resolve. He reached out to friends under the guise of needing support, but his real intention was to create an audience for the inevitable confrontation. He wanted everyone to witness Samantha's betrayal, to see the truth laid bare. The day of the confrontation arrived, a Saturday that was supposed to be peaceful. Mark had invited friends over for what he framed as a casual gathering, a facade to mask his true intentions. As laughter filled their living room, Mark felt a surge of anticipation and dread. When Samantha walked in, he could see the confusion on her face as she noticed the crowd. "What's going on?" she asked, her eyes darting from Mark to their friends. Mark took a deep breath, the moment he had planned for finally here. "Samantha, can we talk?" he said, his voice steady. The room fell silent as they moved to the patio, where the autumn air was thick with tension. Once outside, Mark revealed everything: the texts, the photos, the evidence. Samantha's face shifted from shock to denial, but the reality of his words seeped in. "You think I wanted this?" she finally yelled, anger flashing in her eyes. "It was just a fling." Mark felt his heart shatter again at her words, the dismissal of their life together as if it had been nothing more than a fleeting moment. "A fling?" he echoed, voice rising. "You destroyed everything we built." At that moment, David appeared, having been lured by Mark's text under the pretense of a casual meetup. The tension escalated, and Mark's heart raced. He felt the need to make a statement, to reclaim his dignity. "I want you both to see what you've done to me," he said, as David's confusion morphed into anger. "You think you can confront me like this?" David barked, his bravado faltering as the reality of the situation sank in. Mark stepped closer, the hurt morphing into an unexpected strength. "You both need to face the consequences of your choices." As the dust settled from the confrontation, Mark found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. The initial rush of anger had faded, replaced by an overwhelming sense of loss. He had shared his life with Samantha for nearly a decade. They had built a world together that now felt like ashes. In the days that followed, he relied heavily on his closest friends, Tom and Lily, who had always been his anchors. Tom, with his unwavering loyalty and blunt honesty, became Mark's confidant. He offered practical advice, encouraging Mark to take time for himself and seek therapy. "You need to process this, man. It's okay to feel hurt," Tom said, sitting with him on the couch, a beer in hand, during one of their late-night talks. Lily, on the other hand, brought a different energy. A free spirit with a heart full of empathy, she encouraged Mark to express his feelings openly. "Let it out, Mark. Don't bottle it up. We're here for you," she said one evening as they walked through the city, the sun setting in a blaze of orange and pink. Her presence was soothing, a reminder that he wasn't alone in this painful journey. Mark started therapy, where he learned to navigate the labyrinth of his emotions. Each session felt like peeling back layers of an onion, revealing raw, unfiltered pain, but also the glimmers of hope and strength beneath. He spoke about his childhood dreams, the values his parents instilled in him, and how he felt those ideals had been shattered. "I just feel like a fool," he confessed one day, tears streaming down his face. "I thought we had a life built on trust." His therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Lane, nodded empathetically. "It's normal to feel that way, Mark. Betrayal can shatter our beliefs about love and commitment. But remember, it's not a reflection of your worth. You are not to blame for her choices." With each session, Mark felt the weight on his chest begin to lift. He started to identify his feelings: anger, sadness, confusion, and allowed himself to grieve the loss of his marriage. The emotional journey was tumultuous. Some days he felt strong, ready to face the world, while others left him curled up on the couch, questioning his worth. Tom and Lily provided a lifeline during these darker moments. They encouraged him to join them for weekend outings, hiking in the nearby hills, visiting local breweries, and attending art fairs. Mark hesitated at first, but gradually he began to step out of his shell, engaging with friends and immersing himself in laughter and camaraderie. One Saturday, they visited a local art fair, and Mark found himself drawn to a vibrant painting that depicted a stormy sea. "It's beautiful," he remarked, lost in thought. "The chaos of the waves. It feels familiar." Lily smiled softly, recognizing the metaphor. "It's a part of your journey, Mark. The storm doesn't last forever." With each new experience, Mark began to rebuild his identity, one piece at a time. He rediscovered old hobbies, took up painting, and even tried his hand at cooking, something he had always enjoyed but neglected in the chaos of his marriage. As the months rolled on, Mark found solace in the support of his friends. Tom and Lily became his chosen family, accompanying him to social gatherings and introducing him to new circles. They encouraged him to meet new people, and while it felt daunting, he eventually warmed to the idea. One evening, during a game night at Tom's place, Mark met Sarah, a friend of a friend who had recently gone through her own heartbreak. They bonded over their shared experiences, exchanging stories of betrayal and resilience. Mark felt an undeniable connection to her, a kindred spirit navigating similar emotional waters. Over the next few weeks, Mark and Sarah began to spend more time together. Their conversations flowed easily, and their laughter filled the spaces left hollow by Samantha's betrayal. It was refreshing for Mark to connect with someone who understood the nuances of heartbreak, yet also shared a desire to move forward. As their relationship developed, Mark found himself hesitant but hopeful. He confided in Tom and Lily about his growing feelings for Sarah. "It's strange," he admitted one night. The three of them gathered on the couch. "I'm scared to open myself up again. What if I get hurt?" Tom nodded, his expression serious. "That fear is normal, but don't let it keep you from living, Mark. You deserve happiness. Just take it slow." Lily chimed in, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Exactly. You've come so far. Trust your instincts. If it feels right, go for it." Mark took their advice to heart, allowing himself to explore this new connection without the weight of his past holding him back. He and Sarah went on hikes, shared meals, and talked late into the night, slowly building a relationship rooted in honesty and mutual respect. As winter approached, Mark felt a profound shift within himself. He was no longer the man who had been blindsided by betrayal. He was a survivor, a man reclaiming his narrative. He learned to embrace his emotions, allowing himself to feel the full spectrum of human experience: joy, sadness, anger, and love. One crisp evening, he and Sarah stood on the balcony of his apartment, wrapped in blankets as they watched the snowflakes dance in the air. The world felt magical and serene, a stark contrast to the storm he had weathered just months prior. "Isn't it beautiful?" Sarah whispered, her breath visible in the cold air. Mark nodded, a smile creeping onto his face. "It really is. It's like everything is new again." As he gazed at the snow-covered city, he realized how far he had come. The emotional scars from his marriage were still there, but they no longer defined him. They had become part of his story, one of resilience, growth, and ultimately, hope. With Sarah by his side, he felt ready to embrace whatever the future held, knowing that life, much like the changing seasons, would continue to unfold in beautiful, unexpected ways. Thank you for watching and hope you enjoyed the story. Like, share, and subscribe.